Hello guys and gals, and welcome back to another episode of Haunted Gaming. This time we take a look at a Pokemon creepypasta titled A Depressing Red Rescue Team Hack, or Depressing Rescue Team Hack. Now, I know with a title like that, and again it being Pokemon, that a lot of judgments can be raised, but let's not judge a book by its cover and sit down and read into A Depressing Rescue Team Hack. I'm not normally one to get emotional over games, but a recent incident got me thinking that perhaps I should try. A while back, while searching through pawn shops for some interesting looking bootlegs or pirated games, I came across a rather funny looking cartridge simply named Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Now the first things going through my mind is why the hell would a pawn shop, pay an amount of money for a shit looking cartridge anyways? But then again, pawn shops would probably buy organs if they could get their hands on them too. The cartridge itself looked intriguing to me. It was a regular GBA cartridge, aside from the, label that was paper and some minor scratches. I've always been interested in things like Creepy Black and Lost Silver, so I honestly thought that perhaps, this could be some creepy unknown Pokemon game with a ghost in it or something. So I bought the crappy cartridge and returned home, grabbing my DS and shoving it into the slot. My hopes were high and getting higher as a badly glitched title screen popped up for me. The last thing that I saw there was already promising enough with the weird label. But now, the unintelligible mass of the title screen made it just even better. From what I could see, it was a standard Red Rescue Team game, but the colors of the screen were off, probably because the previous owner didn't take care of it at all. All the colors were a dull gray, and any colors that weren't gray were badly washed out and bland. I chose a new game and started with the quiz. The text in the quiz section was badly glitched. Letters were replaced with different characters and numbers. Even the answers looked like they were written in some poor man's leet speak. I just answered the questions at random until I eventually reached the "Are you a boy or a girl?" type question. Or at least it seemed like that. There were only two choices, and the respective symbols were in the text. I chose boy, and wondered what kind of Pokemon I'd get from the massive questions I just answered. And all it said was a selfish person like you is a Cubone. The broken text managed to announce. Normally I'd try to be a Treco or something, but Cubone was alright considering I couldn't understand the questions in the first place. From here though, things started going downhill. This game skipped past the choosing of my partner and apparently the entire intro altogether, and threw me into a dungeon. This is weird to say the least. The game didn't even let me name myself. The dungeon was as badly broken as the rest of the game. Pieces of sprite work and walls were littering the place, and the enemy Pokemon were clipping into places of wall and map all over. Naturally, being the cheap prick I am, I snuck up on them and took them out for easy experience points. The walls holding them in place, while I pretty much mutilated them. I should mention something else though. Combat in this game was considerably easier than the original Red Rescue Team. Enemies were constantly getting stuck in the walls and didn't react when I attacked them at all, only making distorted cries when defeated. My Cubone was a bit odd too. When it leveled up, instead of the usual happy things like "I feel braver now" or "I feel more confident," he would say "Mommy," and his stats would barely increase. I decided to nickname the Cubone Crybaby because of this, and I quickly realized that no matter how many floors I was going down, Crybaby never seemed to reach the bottom. All the way down I encountered trapped Pokemon who I farmed again for easy experience points. The dungeon itself was getting more and more glitched as I continued too, meaning more Pokemon became ensnared in glitchy tiles and made helpless to Crybaby's assault. I managed to get Crybaby to about level 6 before the entire dungeon had suddenly changed. The floor and walls were gray. Even the nasty washed out colors of the dungeon were replaced by the same shade of gray. I was still encountering weak Pokemon trapped in glitches, but now when defeated their bodies glitched out as well instead of fading away. At one point I managed to defeat a Rattata who wanted to join my party. Upon saying no, *ampersand up in the game, I got this message. The fuck? Something about this particular line of horribly broken text kinda gave me a chill. The Rattata in the glitched wall didn't fade or, again, glitch out like Crybaby's other targets. He just kinda stood in the glitch and stopped moving altogether. Attempting to talk to him got the same line of text, but with a nice ellipses, replacing the exclamation marks. His icon was that of a sad or depressed character in game too. After the Rattata incident, who I decided to name him Schrodinger because God knows whether his body would go away like the others or not, something finally had hit me. I'd gone up about 6 levels, gone down about 20 or so floors if not more, and Crybaby hadn't complained about one of the more annoying aspects of the regular game. He wasn't hungry. Normally, long explanations into dungeons leave Pokemon hungry, which could be relieved again with apples. If he was hungry, and thanks to the unreadable eldritch text of the game, I wouldn't even have known if he was, he would have fainted by now. It was this moment that I decided to just check my items, since I played the game enough. I was able to go through the ungodly broken text menu to again see what it is, deciphered it here and there. I had a good number of something called formula. First off, I was blown away by readable text, in all caps of all things. Second, formula? Like, baby formula? Curiously, I decided to use formula on Crybaby. Mommy. Whatever this item was, it instantly leveled up Crybaby and gave his stats to boost at the regular level ups weren't trying to give him. I found that I could only use formula about every 3 hours because Crybaby was full of something after each use, and by the time I was done he'd gone up from level 6 to level 16. This meant that I had gone 30 floors and still hadn't reached the end of this glitchy mess of a game. As if reading my mind, the endless dungeon of fun finally changed again. Grey walls with red splashes. Classy. As I wandered this new area, thoughts started popping up into my head. I wonder if Schrodinger is dead yet. Where's the boss? Where's the bottom of this freaking place? Wait, 3rd floor. Did I use formula yet? Mommy. Okay, that last one was Crybaby, but at the rate enemy difficulty was suddenly increasing, and by difficulty I mean how long it took to kill their trapped bodies, I was pretty much crying for my mom, as well as for something else to happen. Then, with a mix of formula and senseless killing, Crybaby reached level 28 and evolved into a Marowak. I lost count of how many floors I'd gone down at this point, and lost count of how many Pokemon were slaughtered, but at least... Wait. How did Crybaby evolve? One of the big things about Mystery Dungeon is that Pokemon couldn't evolve, so how the hell did Crybaby manage to do it? With his evolution came up a new level up phrase. Daddy. I was creeped out to say the least. I decided to shake it off as a bad programming of a badly broken game. At least, I should have shaken it off. Everything about Crybaby was becoming more and more disturbing the more I thought about him. He was a Marowak, one of the most depressing Pokemon ever. He was thrown into a deep pit as a Cubone and was living out his life killing trapped Pokemon and drinking baby formula. The one Pokemon he spared, Schrodinger, had more than likely starved to death, meaning the one friend he could have had was also dead. Why was I thinking about this so deeply? It was a broken copy of Red Rescue Team. It's a broken game. They're not real people or real situations, but still. With the amount of time I was spending on Crybaby's seemingly hopeless adventure into what was probably the depths of Pokemon hell, I was getting really attached to this little sociopath. This made the end of the dungeon even more heart-wrenching. Crybaby entered this large empty room. He was completely out of formula now and was ridiculously overleveled. The room had absolutely nothing in it, no stairs, no Pokemon, no wonder tiles, nothing. And then Crybaby got stuck. Walking up to the end of the room got the Marowak stuck in the same glitchy walls that once held its victims. No matter what I did, I couldn't get Crybaby to move out of the spot. All he could do was twitch and spin in place. When Crybaby was trapped, the room flooded with enemy Pokemon that Crybaby had killed during his adventure. All I could do was hold B. The Pokemon surrounded Crybaby and whittled away at its health. Sometimes broken text would pop up with empty icons, sometimes Crybaby would let out these death wails of previous Pokemon he'd killed for XP. But the end result was the same. Crybaby's health hit 0, and the screen faded to black instead of warping Crybaby away. My DS shut off on its own, making me jump and shaking out of whatever Day stated to put me into while playing. After checking my pants, I turned my DS back on and immediately tried to play again. If that was a game over and it didn't save the entire time, I could just restart, right? When the game turned on, the screen was just black. The only available option was a broken continue. Obviously, I chose that I had to make sure Crybaby was okay. But like hell he was. Continuing the game, I was given back control of Crybaby, who was now a nasty gray like the backgrounds of the hell he wandered for those few hours. He was stuck in the room where he died, with stuck Pokemon respawning over and over for him to slaughter. His old level up line of Daddy was replaced with Daddy Help Me. By now I was tearing up and freaking the fuck out. The Pokemon I had raised in that endless hellhole was trapped in some sick room where he would never escape. And he was still hoping I'd help him. The broken text of the menu was replaced with Daddy Kill Me, and selecting that just made the DS shut off. Any attempts to replay the game always sent me to the trap room where Crybaby was forced to re-kill his victims and beg me for death. To this day I kept that broken cartridge with me, locked away where no one will take it. I already lost Crybaby once, I refused to let it happen again. I understand why the cartridge said I was selfish now too, why it baited me into leading Crybaby into his own hell. Even if it was just the result of some sick programming or a bug, the adventure of Crybaby made me look at myself and see that even humans are capable of becoming horrible monsters. Well team, that was another Pokemon creepypasta, one of the most prominent ones in gaming. So, in a category which has so much in it, so much saturation, is it good enough? Does it stand out? Both yes and no. Now, it's written in a way where it's like classic games we looked at too, with the ROM glitches and whatnot, and you know what, it works. It really does. It's not overtly long or anything, and it's built up well and relates to a lot of the Ghost of Marowak from Lavender Town, you know, without ever mentioning it really, which works lore-wise. It's interesting, and I'm glad it never reached fanfiction level, which some often do. Now, it was a little bland in the beginning and kind of cliched when we started out, but it slowly caught up into the rhythm, and it kind of felt like, at least to me, when the mommy, you know, with the use of the word mommy and the formula and the cave, it's kind of some analogy to birth, and the ending with the hell room signifying, I guess, maybe death in the birth, or maybe the dad could have killed the mom and the child, but that's me going off track. That's me reading too deep into this, like the player is looking too deep into the game. Isn't that meta? But I guarantee it's a bit simpler than that. But as a whole, looking at it, it had phenomenon that was normal, and you can see it happen in some hacked game. It's not like, again, it's the DS is talking to you or anything, or, you know, there's blood being split out, or there's a doll that's appearing on your bed. No, it worked, and that was super impressive. It's like, if I sat in front of my computer, hell, even emulated this game off some ROM I found on the internet and played it on my DS emulator, it would be enjoyable. If this happened to me, it'd be just as creepy. That's what it put me into, and that's what works. It makes the whole experience amazing. And in the end, I guess, what would you rate this, and what would you change to make it better? And please let me know what creepypasta you would like me to read in the future. Again, these are all based on, you know, viewer suggestion. But before we end this, I do have to congratulate that this is one of those creepypastas that when you read, it is enjoyable, it is readable. It's like JVK1166.z. It's just, it works with the game that's being used in question. So, ultimately, this has been another episode of Haunted Gaming, and if you like what you saw, then please like, comment, and subscribe. This is me, Mudaharand. I'm out.